Hey there, Walt from Superior Shop Drawings here, and today I'm going to show you how to scale a PDF using AutoCAD. So the other day, one of our drafters here at Superior Shop Drawings reached out and asked me a question. Hey Walt, how do I go about drawing this bank of cabinetry? Now, in my mind, I heard, how do you draw this bank of cabinetry? That's simple enough. The easiest thing to do is draw your floor lines, draw your walls, start offsetting for your countertops. I like to work my way down, uh, draw the countertop, draw the cabinet outline, start laying out the interior parts, then start doing door gapping. And as I get into this long drawn out explanation, he says, no, I understand how to physically draw a cabinet, but I don't know how big they can make the cabinets because the architectural drawings don't have any dimensions on them. And this gave me pause because I've been in this situation so many times that it just becomes second nature when I see that dimensions are missing from a given elevation or sometimes a plan view. I just kind of run through the motions and I come up with dimensions that are workable. And it's pretty simple. There are really two ways to do it. If you have a file that was generated from a software suite such as AutoCAD or Revit, you have a vector image or a file that can be used as an underlay. And what that means is there are snap points within the file. The other option is sometimes physical architectural drawings will be printed and then scanned in using a large format scanner. In those cases, you end up with a raster image as opposed to vector like this. So I'm going to show you both ways. I'm actually going to show you the raster image because it's a little bit harder and it's not exactly perfect, and I think that may be more suitable given this situation. So what you're looking at here is a PDF underlay. We can do this a couple of different ways. We can do the PDF import command, which is just the word PDF import, all one word, and then hit select or hit enter, the space bar, right click, whatever, and it'll give you an option. You want to use the file option. That'll pop up your window. You'll be able to select your file. It'll begin importing. If the PDF is password protected for whatever reason, AutoCAD won't bring it in. You'll get an error. Otherwise, you'll get what you see here. Now this is clipped down because this is a very large sheet, and while you can't see it right now, there's a ton of detail on this sheet, and my computer really doesn't like it. So every time it refreshes, you can see all the hatching, the grain markers. There's just a lot going on here, so it takes a second to zoom and pan, and it's going to make it a little difficult to run through the example with this particular image. So when you run the PDF import command, it's going to take a little while. Something like this, I would show you I would actually show you the process, but in this case, it just takes too long. There are thousands of line segments that it needs to look at and generate, and it's just not worth the time. But when it comes in, it will be a two-dimensional drawing that is workable. Whereas this is an XREF, and it's inserted just like you would insert any other XREF using the XREF command, or opening up the XREF window and then going over here and telling it that you want to insert a file. So when this is inserted, it's going to be brought in to scale. So it's important to understand that anything that's been drawn to scale, when it's printed, it's going to be reduced uniformly in size so that it fits in a given sheet. These all say that they're 1/2 inch equals a foot, so I can't just come over here and grab a dimension for this cabinet, because if I do, it's going to tell me that the cabinet is roughly 7/32 wide, and clearly it isn't. Now, I can use a scale factor to get this up relatively close to what it should be. The scale factor for 1/2 inch is 24, the scale factor for 3/4 is 16, the scale factor for 1.5 is 8. It's relatively simple. The thing, however, is I don't always trust these because I've seen viewports that were fudged so that everything fits, but it's not quite right. So what I like to do is scale these up by a known point. Now, rather than work with this, I'm going to get rid of it, and then I'm going to bring in a raster image because it'll run a little bit faster. And I think you may see this a little more often. So this is a raster image. It's just a screenshot of the PDF in the PDF viewer. And now I don't have any click points, which makes this a little more applicable, especially if you're trying to trace molding profiles or something like that. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get this larger, up to full size. So what I like to do is strike a construction line that isn't white, because white's difficult to see on a white PDF. Basically, you just drop it at the floor line. I'll drop another one at the countertop height. Now, one thing that's good to know is countertop heights in residential situations, which this is, are typically 36 inches from the floor. If this were commercial casework, most of the time it's 34 inches. And we can use that as our known dimension. So what we're going to do is we're going to scale. I lost my cursor. All right. We're going to scale this image, right click. Well, maybe I should do this a little bit slower. So first thing, scale, SC for scale. Select the image, right click. Now we're going to pick our base point. And pick the base point here. Next we want R for reference. Now we need to pick the reference point, same point as the base point. Now we're going to select the second point, which is this point here, which represents the top of our countertop. Now we're going to drag it in the direction that we want to offset, or I'm sorry, we want to drag it in the direction that we're going to scale, and then we're going to input a dimension. In this case, it's 36 inches. So now that just made this whole thing larger. So what it did was it took my base point and my reference point, and it made them 36 inches apart. So now if I come through and I strike my line, you know, I can come through here and I can start basically dropping lines, reference lines on top of the image. Then I'll come back through. So as you can see, now that the dimensions have been placed on the drawings, we have a basic idea of how big everything is. Now, we got to keep in mind that this is a raster image. It doesn't have snap points, and basically I'm dropping lines on top of blurry lines. So at best, this is an educated guess. If I were doing shop drawings for this, obviously I wouldn't draw this cabinet at 18 and 15, 30 seconds, and this one at 18 and 21, 30 seconds. I would make this 18 and a half, I would make this 18 and a half, and I would probably make, I guess I'd make this 37. And I'd make it 36 inches high. So this method, while not perfect, will get you a close enough dimension so that you can begin producing shop drawings. Now, you also have to keep in mind that this is all built-in furniture. There's going to be filler panels. There's going to be field dimensions later on. So if these are off just a little bit, it's really not a big deal. Field dimensions are going to change the cabinets a little bit anyway. And this gets us around the issue of there's no dimensions on the drawings. How do we do this? So nice and easy.